Tonight we have Stephen K joining us. Stephen is a co-founder at InventRight, and we'll get all into what that is and why he is here. But we're, spoiler, here to encourage you to go out there and pursue your creative passions and make products and make money off of doing it. So I'm really excited to jump in with Stephen. He says that he's not qualified already, so this is going to be a good combo. Welcome, Stephen. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
At InventRight, and probably even before you landed with them in developing that company, you encourage people to transform their ideas into physical products. So can you explain this further? I see there's lots of things behind you that makes a little bit of sense, but how does this work?
Well, I think it all starts with having an idea, or maybe having a problem. When I first started out, I just wanted to create things that put a smile on people's faces. So I don't know if I'd call myself an inventor, although I have invented things. So it all starts with an idea. And I think it's really easy to come up with an idea, and I can talk a little bit about how to do that. But once you have that idea, to bring it to life is really magical. And you can do that in many different ways. For me, I designed plush animals. I was a designer to create, I created teddy bears and different types of animals to bring my ideas to life. So I was a pattern maker, but it could be out of clay, it could be out of paper. It could be a drawing. It could be a computer-generated graphics that doesn't even exist, but it does because you created it on a computer. So having an idea and bringing it to life is not the difficult part. That's the fun part. There is a hard part later, but that's the fun part. Yeah.
And are you in the hard part now?
I'm always, well, let's put it this way. The fun part is the creative part. And like I said, it's magical to think about something and create it, and then seeing it come to life, and seeing people use it, maybe see it on TV or on the store shelf. That's truly incredible, right? So the hard part is really understanding that process a little bit and educating yourself how to do it, because there's a lot of pitfalls along the way. So for me, the hardest part is to reaching out to companies. And I like to talk a little bit about licensing, and that's what I do. I license or rent ideas to companies.
Okay.
I don't make anything. You see, I leverage the power of companies that are already in business.
Right.
Because I don't want to start a business, and I don't want to have employees or raise money or do anything that's scary. What I want to do is create things for people and let the companies bring my creations to market for me. And that's called licensing, product licensing. Yeah.
Well, awesome. And especially with plush toys, you probably bring so much joy to people. Growing up, I had plush toys I just adored, and I still have some from my childhood. They bring me a lot of happiness.
I started studying art in college and loved to make things, but clay, and I was a sculptor, but it was really, to me, it was too much work. So I found that making things out of paper that later I could lay down and build them in fabric, I could create anything very quickly. And then I started to do a lot of work for companies, creating their characters for them. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, very fun. And so you're doing the licensing part of it, and you went to school for art, you just said. Do you have coaching, teaching background? You do sound very unqualified for what you're doing, so we should talk about this.
No, and I really love that question because I'm not qualified at all. I've been failing since the second grade. School has been very difficult for me, and I didn't know there was a place for me, really. And I was studying economics at Santa Clara University, and I just didn't like it at all. I was drowning. And so I took an art class just to take a break. And I loved it. It was something incredible. And I went home, I told my dad, I said, I want to be an artist. And he said, well, that's really great. You must like to draw. And I said, well, no, He said, you must like to paint. And I said, well, no, but I want to create things. And he said, well, if you find something you truly like to do, you'll probably be a pretty lucky guy. You never work a day in your life. So he
Mhm.
gave me permission to jump off the cliff. So I jumped, and I found a way to create things, show those ideas to companies. And if they like those ideas, they pay me a royalty. So it's basically renting ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do all the heavy work for me, and they let me play. Yeah.
What a dream job. Did you switch your major after you found that you loved art from economics to art?
I did switch. I went to San Jose State University, and I was very surprised when I jumped over in the art. I knew I was never going to be this artist either. I was okay.
Mhm.
But I thought that was going to be very difficult. So I actually combined a little bit of business and a little bit of art. I brought them together. So it really worked out well because parts of the business were interesting to me, but the art was very fascinating to me. So I brought them both together. So your question was, why am I a teacher? Why do I think I can teach anybody? Well, that's the craziest thing ever, because I didn't like school at all. And I just wanted to basically play on the playground all the time. And that's why I get to play a lot now. But to think that I can educate or teach people now, it's really kind of shocking to me. And all I wanted to do is tell a story. I wanted to tell a story of how easy that if you truly have a dream that you can pursue it. And let me show you how to take down the barriers. Let me tell you how to break the barriers. And because I've been breaking barriers my whole life, I'm very good at overcoming barriers. Like I said, I've been failing since the second grade. I have a learning disability. So I'm very used to failure. It's a good friend of mine, and I'm not scared of it. So I teach other people to kind of kick their fear to the curb.
Have you always not been afraid of fear? How did you reckon?
Well, let's put it this way. I guess I wouldn't say I'm not afraid of it. I'm probably more afraid of it than anybody in the world.
Mm.
I know how to overcome that fear. I think I know how to deal with it. I know what it is. I feel it.
Right.
And because of that, I know how to prepare for it. And I guess that's what I've learned is if you prepare and understand it and the obstacles, you can overcome it. But it's always out there. And I'm in the failure business. I'm in the rejection business, right?
Really?
Big
Yeah.
time, big time. I could wallpaper my house with rejection letters. But it doesn't bother me. No.
I'm glad it doesn't bother you. I think we've all watched things like Shark Tank, where it's brought this to people's living rooms, this idea of pitching a product. And that's got to be, gosh, rejection after rejection. You see people cry a lot. That's for sure.
Well, they like drama. That's a
It's
TV
true.
show.
They thrive
Right?
it. Yeah.
Yes, they do. But there is a lot of drama to this too. Don't get me wrong. What's really exciting is that when you have an idea and you think you found that right company and you reach out to them and they say, let me see what you have.
Mhm.
And then you show them the idea and they go, we love it. Now that doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, you're just like, I found a home. So that's what
Mhm.
it's really about. It's about finding a home for your ideas and let them take that idea and share it with the world.
Yeah. You did
And
mention that you are basically an expert at breaking barriers now because you've had to do it. And you hear people say all the time that they can't do it because they have never done it before, or they don't have prior experience, or they don't have the natural skills to do it. So, how do you help people out of that line of thinking?
well, I was in my early 20s when I met someone. Everybody thought I was crazy, and everybody thought I was probably the biggest loser on the planet. But I really loved this. And I started selling things I made at street fairs and county fairs. That's how I started. I made things and sold them. And I found that was really kind of crazy to think that I could sell something people would buy it. So I knew that process of making something someone would purchase it. My thought process was, how do I get that into stores? So I met someone that I asked him if I was crazy. He said, no, you found the right guy, and he helped me. He's still a good friend of mine today after so many years. So he kind of believed in me when no one did. And he showed me the ropes, and he taught me a lot of life lessons, really. And so I figured it out. I made a lot of mistakes. Everybody does. But I have to say, too, that I raised my hand for everything.
Mm,
I said yes to everything because
mhm.
I knew that I could figure it out. Or if I didn't, that's okay, too. But my life changed when I was 28 years old. That's when I had my first job. And everything changed. Before, I was basically making things, selling them, and living out of my apartment or cars and loving life. And then I read an article in the local paper about a startup. And that startup was building the first talking teddy bear, Teddy Ruxpin. And it was a prototype, which is kind of the first example or first model or of a product. And it was really not very cute.
Mm.
So I went down on Monday morning. I read the article on a Sunday. And I knocked on the door because they were in the same town. And I knocked on the door and I said, that teddy bear needs to be cuter. And they let me in and they said, well, can you do that? And I said, yeah, because I make stuffed animals. And they gave me my first job at 28.
Wow.
And my life changed. As Teddy Ruxpin became one of the largest selling toys. That year, we sold 5 million Teddy Ruxpins. And I went from basically living out of my car to traveling the world. Yeah. And that's
My
when
gosh.
it changed. And that's when I met this most amazing person that also changed my life, and that's my wife. And
What age were you when you met her?
I'm 28 years old.
28 then
And,
too. Wow, 28 was a catalyst year for you. That's amazing.
well, she was the smartest person I ever met, and she knew everything. And she went to Stanford and got her MBA at Northwestern. She was everything I wasn't. And sure enough, she I guess I sold her on myself. And so we got married 35 years ago. And she supported me,
Mhm.
and she believed. And I think you need someone like that. So that's what I try to do with other people with my company, is be there for them and support them and understand what they're going through. So I have a program where everybody that helps first time people walk the path, right? And so they all understand it because we've all been there. We've all had doubts. We've all have dreams. And so we hold people's hands.
Yeah.
Someone held mine. Yeah.
That's really beautiful because it's paying it forward, like a tenfold, hundredfold from
Wow.
somebody helping you because you're helping other people bring their dreams to life. And there's definitely patterns here. Raise your hand, say yes. And with Teddy Ruxpin, can I also just say that that's a really weird name for a teddy bear? But I don't think I would ask for Teddy Ruxpin for Christmas, but especially if it's not cute. But you made it cute. That's the thing. You came in and you noticed a gap and you said, hey, I can help. So it's, putting yourself out there, saying yes, probably asking a ton of questions too, all the time.
I wasn't afraid to knock on that trailer door. I wasn't afraid to say, hey, I can help you. I wasn't afraid of it. I knew that I was clever enough and determined enough,
Mm-hmm.
passionate enough. And they saw that in me. They knew I was a little weird. They could tell I was not the corporate type. I hadn't really had a job before. They kind of knew it, but they didn't say anything about it because they saw my passion and they saw that this guy really likes it. This guy can fix it. This guy's going to help us. So they believed in me, and yeah, everything changed. And then was able to learn a lot about licensing because the inventor of Teddy Ruxpin was making $1 million in royalties a month.
Hmm.
And I got to see it firsthand.
Oh, who's laughing now? I'm here making fun of the name.
Well, I had to get a Google about that. So I got to see it firsthand. I was amazed by it. Here I was over in the Far East. I was living in China, and I'm the guy there making sure Teddy looks great coming down the production line. I realized he wasn't there.
Mm.
And my father told me something very early on. He said, look, if you can find something that doesn't require your hands or your presence and has a multiplying effect, you can create great wealth. I didn't understand that until
So smart. Yeah.
I didn't understand it until I'm on that production line and I realized that's what my dad was saying. The inventor isn't there. It's manufacturing. That's the multiplying effect. He's not using his hands. Other people are. So that whole thing about leveraging the power of a company was fascinating to me because now the companies were working for me.
Yeah.
And I thought, here's a guy that was selling things on the street corners. And now I had products that were selling around the world, some of mine. And I saw it come full circle. And that's when it's like, that's a really amazing feeling. So I hope other people do that too. And I have some amazing students all over the world that are doing some crazy things, and they're doing the same thing. And every time they have a success, it's my success.
Mm-hmm.
So we celebrate it, and that I get to relive it over and over again. Yeah.
And you have a house in Lake Tahoe. You're really killing it.
I'm very, very lucky. I would probably be the person everybody would count out. So am I qualified? I am, in the sense that I walk the walk. I know rejection. I know what it takes. I've done it repeatedly.
Yep.
I've licensed ideas in many, many different industries, knocked on 1,000 doors, pitched so many products, but saw how it really works. So the information I'm trying to provide, let me show you how to do this anywhere in the world at any age. It doesn't take a lot of money. Let me show you how to break down all the barriers so anybody today can get in the game. Anybody. So we have members that are, my youngest member that licensed an idea was 13 years old.
Love it. What was it, a toy?
Well, he's a boy, so he's a little bit, kids at that age are a little bit like to have fun.
Uh-huh.
And he loved the whoopee cushions, right? You sit on it. And he loves to read. So he created a bookmark in the shape, and that's actually a whoopee cushion. It's called the bookie cushion.
Oh my God. And so does it fart?
Yes, it does.
Close the book on it?
Yes, and it sells at Barnes and Noble, Kohl's, Walmart. It sells everywhere. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm gonna get one.
It's
That's
13.
great.
He's 15.
My nephews would love it.
Yeah, he's 15 now. He giggles. He's such an amazing young man, and his sister helped him, but he used the same principles that I've been teaching, and it works. Yeah.
Yeah, really, 13 years old. That is amazing. But you're saying you work with all walks of life, but people are telling themselves that, oh my God, my idea is not good enough. Nobody's going to want to license this, buy this. There's, this societal expectation that really only a certain subset of people can actually bring things and ideas to market, but it's not true.
I've licensed the dumbest ideas you can imagine.
Oh God. What's the dumbest?
Well, a company I knew that they were making seasonal items, and they said, Steve, can you come up with a seasonal Valentine's item for about $2? Mm-hmm. So I wrote them this one description: a plastic arrow with a suction cup that says, I'm stuck on you, or I love you. And they took it, didn't build a prototype, didn't file for any intellectual property. And they took it and they paid me for one sentence, and they licensed it.
Oh my God.
Now that's pretty goofy. I mean, it's like, okay. I also, this is one of my best selling, this is called the Michael Jordan wall ball. And I just took a
Mm.
regular indoor Nerf basketball game that was square, boring, and had a little logo of Michael Jordan. He was my favorite. And I said, Michael should be big. So I took a poster, put it on the backboard, slapped it on the backboard, sent it to a company. It sold for over 10 years. And it's called the Michael Jordan wall ball.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
Yeah, that's some simple ones. And some of them are life-changing. Those are silly ones, but some of them, like putting more information on a label, there's a technology I created that allows you to spin a label.
Whoa. See,
Yeah.
that's genius.
And so and you can do really fun things with the technology too, make things move.
I'm surprised I don't see that on water bottles all over the place.
And then this actually, you can spin the label and you can get the right dosing to a child.
That, yeah, that could even like save lives.
So I guess what I'm saying is I started out doing really fun things, but then it started to take some of that creativity and started solving different types of problems. But it all starts with just having fun and thinking a little differently. And I'm not very creative, but I found a way to be creative. Right. And so getting back to this teaching thing, I think it's really interesting because my wife, I met her at a company. Eventually she left corporate America and became a teacher. And when I first came home, I said, I'm going to start teaching people. She's like, are you out of your mind? You didn't like school. There's no way you can teach anybody. And we've been teaching people for the last 23 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any patterns in success that you see from these people that you could share?
Yeah, I can tell you the magic. There's a magic formula. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a magic formula. It's being very persistent.
Mm-hmm.
It's being very disciplined. And it's not giving up. Yeah.
So if you don't get a license from one company, do you approach another company?
Yeah. I reach out to a lot of them, probably 30.
Oh my gosh.
Until I get a yes. In fact, the spin label that I showed you, I have 100 rejection letters. I put them on my table, took a photograph. I have a very long table, 100 no's.
Mm.
Now, most people would give up, right? I mean, come on, that's insanity. 100 no's. Well, I showed that I did to 100 wrong companies because all I had to do was show it to the right one and they took it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, you know what it is? It's like knocking on doors of opportunity.
Right.
Okay. If you knock on one door, well, you have one opportunity. If you knock on hundreds of doors, yeah, I play the game of math,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to increase your chances of success, you come up with lots of ideas. You spend very little money on any one idea, and you pitch them to a lot of companies and build relationships. And the companies really appreciate, not all of them, but many do, that creative people, you're a little bit different. You're looking at things a little bit differently. So they eventually tell you what they're looking for. So they give you a target to hit. I'll give you an example of one company, and there's many, but let's take the toy industry. Let's take Hasbro. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's one of the toughest industries to be a game or toy inventor. But 60% of all their ideas come from people like us on the outside.
60%.
Yeah. That's a lot. I'll give you another example of royalties. Gatorade, that drink, that's created $1 billion in royalties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first idea that got licensed, I think, was the sewing machine. That was 200 years ago. So product licensing has been around for a long time. And there's certain industries that embrace it, and there's certain industries that's a little bit more difficult. So the companies that do embrace working with us, creative people, those companies embrace open innovation, meaning they don't care where an idea comes from. So you end up knocking on a lot of doors and meeting a lot of amazing people. When I showed the rotating label, the spin label to Disney, I was in a Disney meeting because I used to make guitar picks in the shape of Mickey Mouse. I did some really fun stuff and they loved it. And I showed them my spin label. And I remember him saying, well, the guy that saw my spin label said, we tell stories and your label tells a story.
Mm.
You found your home.
Mm.
Yeah.
Gosh, Disney and Hasbro, that's some big names. Have you sold an idea to Hasbro?
I have not done Hasbro. My label has been on products such as Jim Beam, a lot of water companies, vitamin companies, Nescafe Coffee, which is a big company.
Yeah,
Some other
that's
big ones, yeah.
big.
Yeah, I was a Disney licensee where I created little guitar picks that when you turn them back and forth, I could put 13 frames of a movie on there. And we were the largest supplier of guitar picks in the world. I became a Disney licensee. I also did all of Taylor Swift's guitar picks too.
What?
Yeah.
That is like, it's some deep niche stuff. That's amazing.
Well, it was interesting because we became so popular with these guitar picks that we were selling them in tens of thousands of stores around the world.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Taylor Swift's dad was visiting the local. Here's one. Was visiting the local gas station, getting a donut, and there's where our guitar picks. And the lenticular lens, you move them back and forth, and it creates images and stuff like this. Like here's, I don't know. There's tons of them, but here's one like with an alien, and
Oh yeah.
so he saw it and he goes, I want Taylor strumming the guitar on guitar picks. So can you imagine? I'm in my office and I go out to lunch, I come back, my office manager says, guess who called? I said, well, who? He said, well, Scott Swift. I said, well, who's he?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's dad.
You're like, how should I know that?
And I said, well, who's Taylor Swift?
You
She was
didn't.
19 years old.
Okay. That
Okay.
makes a little more sense.
Just starting out.
Yes.
Just starting out. And I've got a picture of her somewhere here. We're together. And she right here. And she was
Oh my gosh, just a little thing.
yeah, she was amazing. So she had we made guitar picks and she was doing concerts everywhere, and I got to meet her and her family and everything else with the guitar pick.
See, you would never ever guess that it would open doors like that. But
Not
it just,
a million years.
no, that's
When
incredible.
she was playing at Arkle Arena, her family says, come out and meet Taylor. I brought home my whole family. Then after the show, we went to her trailer, spent an hour. She was the most amazing person I've ever met. As kind, as nice as could be, didn't have to do anything. And look at her now. I mean, no kidding. She's the big, everybody knew it. But anyway, creativity, I met the most amazing people coming up with ideas, and people kind of connect with one another. So yeah, I've got the most amazing job, I guess, in the world, really.
Thanks, Steve, I think you do. I can't think of anything else.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Kind of. And I
Yeah.
get to see it in the background. I get to experience some really amazing people. Someone from Cairo, Egypt, follows me, followed my course. I taught him, and now his product is selling around the world. And I visited him a couple of times in Egypt, and I went down to the stores, and there it is. He's got a factory, he's got workers. He sends me this email, and this is the stuff that really matters, and this is my why I do this. He says, Steve, you changed my life forever. And that was the same man that did that to me too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you're right. You I cannot give enough back. It's impossible.
I think that you're doing a pretty good job of
I'm
giving back.
trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Wouldn't be too hard on yourself there.
I'm
It
trying.
so people are, you say that you have an idea and you can maybe solve a problem or, make something cooler, like your wall ball for Michael Jordan. At what point does somebody know that they have a product idea when they're thinking about this and it's not just like a flight of fancy? It's like, is there a magic place where you're like, oh, that makes sense to actually create?
We, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, just do it.
I tell everybody, if you're looking for someone to tell you yes or no, I think you're wasting your time. And people ask me all the time, Steve, what do you think? I don't know. I do know this. The process is really simple. You create a one-page advertisement for your product, right? That's all you do. And there's a benefit at the very top, and it's called a one-sentence benefit statement. It's just one short benefit statement of what my product does. Why would you care to have it?
Yeah.
And then a picture of your prototype. It could be a prototype, it could be a drawing, it could be computer generated, it doesn't matter. And I file a provisional patent application. I can file that for, I don't know, $40 or $50 easy. I can make a sell sheet, a one-page sell sheet, I don't know, $100 maybe, I don't know. So now those are two things I can test ideas. I have patent pending, feel pretty good. Contact a company, here's my sell sheet. So why overthink it? Right? Because if you overthink it, you're going to stop.
Exactly. I think people almost rely on overthinking because then it's a safe space.
It's easier to say, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, let everybody look, test. You can test all your ideas with a simple method. It's not a big deal. And see if people if they're interested. If they're interested, then maybe you build that prototype or maybe you take it to another level. But what I'm saying is you're always selling benefits. So if you look at it that way, now you're an idea factory. And you're not getting bogged down by all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get out of your own way.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your course through InventRight?
It's really simple. People can find these 10 steps.
Mm-hmm.
They can find that in the book called One Simple Idea. That's from McGraw-Hill. That's been translated in 5 different languages. That's an easy read. They can go to my YouTube channel. We have 70,000 subscribers now. And we have, I know, I'm really proud of that. And we have over 1,000 videos. Okay. That's free. You can learn everything you can. And I've written 1,000 articles too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all free.
Okay.
All right. And then, but if you want, let's say you want more. Let's say you read about it. Hey, Steve, I really want you to hold my hand. Then you call my company and we have a program. We'll hold your hand too. But you don't need it. But people do. Some people want someone to be there every step to go, do this, do this, do this. Okay, I get it. But some people don't need it. I understand that too. So we do both. Yeah.
Yeah. You could have those people too that want hand holding for a little bit until they feel more confident. And then they're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. And then we have a lot of people that just stay with us forever because we have a nice community. They just hang out. It's like they just hang out. I'm like, what are you guys doing here? They just hang out and they hang out.
Yeah.
And we work with some very large organizations too, like the Smithsonian works with us.
That's awesome.
Too. Yeah, no, really big and really, anybody that's got an idea.
What's the largest physically product that you've licensed?
There's terms of size or money.
Size.
There's a technology in every truck in the United States that one of our students licensed. Yeah,
that's amazing.
That was a big deal. And here's a product that I think is really quite simple too. This product, it's called the Whiskey Wedge from Corksicle. They did about 1 million units last year. That's, if you do the math with the royalty of 60 cents, doing 1 million units. That's a pretty big royalty check at the end of the day.
Was that ice in there? Like permanent ice?
Yeah. And then
Oh,
here's I love the story here.
I saw that back there. I was like, what's Buzz doing back there?
Isn't it great? This is a light toy that's in all the theme parks, and the gentleman that invented this showed this to everybody. Got rejected by everyone until one company said, take that out of that box. And why don't we show it to one of the big amusement parks? And his royalties were $10 million on this.
Yeah, I've seen at least very similar at Disneyland.
Yep, that's the guy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I tell everybody, look, you don't count anybody out. Do you have to be qualified? No, you don't. Your ideas will get better. Of course, everybody's does.
Yeah.
Are you going to hit a home run the first time out? I doubt it. It does happen. But truly love it. If you truly love it, you're gonna really enjoy this. If you're chasing money,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is the great thing to do, right? Because it is tough in terms of getting rejection, and it takes time, right? So I like to tell everybody, let's have some reality to it.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'll never forget, I was in Bozeman, Montana at my best friend's son's graduation. And everybody's there, and I look around and they're drinking out of my spin label bottle. 10,000 people. And I looked around and go, that's my idea.
They're probably
so-
like, yeah. Like, you crazy.
no one would believe me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's moments like that you kind of just puts a smile on your face.
It's like a pinch me moment.
Pretty
Like,
much.
It's random.
It's like,
Yeah.
did that really happen?
Yeah. Wow. There's so many different types of people that could invent such beneficial things. If you think about it, like parents could definitely see probably gaps in what they are using for their children, and any like that person that developed something in the truck, he probably saw it, and he's like, this would be great.
I'll show you another project I'm involved in. Plastic is terrible for the environment, right? Those plastic rings on beverages.
It's awful.
This is called Fishbone. You go to fishbone.com, and it's a packaging that's all paper, 100% curbside recyclable. And you're going to see this on a lot of beverages now, and that's from a group that I work with, some amazing inventors, and it's called fishbone.com. So the same principles can be applied to ideas that are simple, they're complex, life-changing. It doesn't matter, right? And so I get to see some incredible things happen. This idea here, I love this idea. This inventor, one of our members, they were driving by a fountain, and her daughters were like, wow, look at that fountain. And they were mesmerized by a fountain. So she went home and built this little fountain so her daughters could play with it, and sent the prototype into a company. And there you go. You can build your own fountain at home.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Yeah. So I get to see some incredible things. And how did those ideas start? I don't know. You see something, you go, hey, why not? And so why not test it? Why not show it to a company? Here's the frustrating part. If you do nothing and you have this idea, and it's a good idea, and you do nothing, I can guarantee you're going to see it later.
Yeah.
And
And
you're
that's got to be so frustrating.
You're going to go, that's my idea. So don't let that happen to you.
We did talk a little bit about Shark Tank before, because that's like, the accessible thing. Obviously, not everybody has to do that. But one thing that you see there with these inventors is the time old story. I worked my 9 to 5, and then I worked my 5 to midnight, which was this. And then I also had 5 kids to feed, all of that. And I don't know how I did it all, but I did. Does it have to be that way? Really, I guess is my question. Can you be a hobby creator?
Oh, well, I think if you're going to venture,
Yeah.
and that's what they're doing, they're starting a company. right?
Gotcha. So
Yeah,
that, yeah, they want the full stake and then they're giving up a stake of the whole company. I
well,
got
they
it.
are because they have to raise money and build I mean, that's a big commitment. That's a big risk. That's a financial risk. That's a time risk. That's a lot of risk. What I'm telling everybody, look, if you want to be that type of entrepreneur,
Yeah.
then that's great. But I'm not that type of entrepreneur. I don't like risk, right? So what I do is that I come up with a lot of ideas and just test ideas and then let them do all the work for me. So no, no, no. This is not a 60-hour a week thing. You could do it a couple hours a week and have fun with it. Now it could get serious, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to quit your day job. You don't have to quit school. You don't have to do any of those things. You can play this game anywhere, anytime, once you learn some of the basic principles.
Is it expensive?
You could probably, I tell everybody, you can pitch ideas for probably under $200. Yeah. And if you're really clever, you could do it less than that.
Yeah.
I can pitch ideas just by calling the company up and not even making anything, because I could pitch the benefit. I've got an idea that does this. Would you like to see it? Oh, you do? Okay, go make it. So it's all about understanding. It's all about good storytelling. It's about finding the right companies, seeing a problem maybe their customers would just love a solution to. But you never really know. That's why you have to knock on doors and present yourself as a professional, right? Kind of be polite. Okay. Understand their business. Okay, I get it. Maybe file some type of intellectual property, like a provisional patent application, easy to do.
Hmm.
Uh, these are really simple things to do, and you can do it anywhere in the world at any age.
Mhm.
So there's no barriers, right? And I have a lot of, we've been teaching a lot of high school kids now because they're taking these classes about being an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And they're great, raise how to do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, they're not going to start companies. So their products just stay, they don't do anything with it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Let me show you how to license, because it should never stop. It doesn't have to stop. And once you learn how to knock on a door, everything changes. And then you could knock on any door anywhere.
Mhm.
That's what I like to see. What I get to see during this process is people gaining confidence in themselves to do anything. Yeah, I think they think it's licensing. No, no, I think it's a empowerment of going, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I can help. I can
yeah.
make people smile.
Well, like I said, I did this because I didn't think anybody would hire me. I had to create my own job because I didn't think anybody would hire me. So I came at it from a different perspective of
Mhm.
survival. Like, what am I going to do for a living? Right. And I was tested for dyslexia when I was 45. Because my kids were getting ready to go to college, and I left college early, and I wanted to go back to get my degree. So I got tested because I tried to get back into my college, and they said, Steve, you're 3 units shy. So I said, well, forget it. And they said, no, don't forget it. And I said, well, school's not my thing. They said, well, go get tested. So I went and got tested, and it came back, and they said to me, we don't really know what you can do. You tested so poorly. Yeah,
Oh, whoa.
yeah.
Okay.
So it empowered me to talk about it a little bit more and say, well, everybody's different and I have different skills. So I was what you call someone at risk, right?
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of people that are at risk like me.
Mm.
So if I can help them find something that makes sense, I want to do that.
Really love that because school is not for everybody, but it's changing now. But at least when I was, getting into college, it was presented as is this is the way you make a life for yourself. This is the way. And that's just not true because it's not for everybody and it's not for everybody for a plethora of different reasons.
No, it's not. And I remember when I met my wife and her background, she was in marketing, I was in engineering, and I was making more money than her. Since she was like, you didn't even have a job.
Uh-huh.
So how can you do that? So I think there is a different path for people. And I saw that firsthand, and I know there is. And um, so I think it's important to show people maybe different things that they can do. I wish someone had shown me that. I wish someone had said, let me show you all the things that are available to you.
Yeah.
And I think um, that's missing. I didn't see it. I didn't know. So, but I think things are changing a little bit, and I think people are challenging the system a little bit too, and demanding more too. So, yeah, it's an interesting time.
You're filling that gap too. I hope you realize in that way where people can find an outlet like this where they have an idea and they could make a lot of money off the idea. And if not, they could gain confidence and continue going with something else. But it's a gateway to having a different life that probably nobody even thinks of.
Well, I think you have to expose people to a lot of opportunities. I
Yeah.
don't think we get exposed. I didn't, and I also think that if you, I like to teach people to fish. You know, people are asking me all the time, Steve, why don't you do it for me? I go, no, that's not any fun. If I teach it for you, you can't do it again. If I teach you to fish, you don't need me. You fly.
Mhm.
I want you to fly.
Bunch of
Yeah,
flying fish.
yeah, kind of. That's right. And so there's it's interesting too. I think people that want to go down that entrepreneurial path are, I think there's a lot of really giving people out there. And especially if you've been through it and you've been kind of knocked around a little bit, I think you have a different perspective on life a little bit too. So I think that we all need to kind of share that information and help each other and help the next guy up. Why not? Right. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a small world now. You can reach anybody. And
You
I mean, just
can.
reaching out to companies now, you don't have to knock on doors or you do everything on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
There's no barriers. You can make prototypes, 3D printing or graphics. You can file PPAs. You can do graphics. Anybody in the world can do that for you by freelance sites. You can reach out to any company in the world through LinkedIn. It's all available. What is stopping you? Nothing. The only thing that's stopping you is a little bit of guidance and someone that's behind you saying, hey, you can do this. It's okay. I'll catch you if you fall. You're okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to map out the whole process of product development in my head. So obviously you have the idea, you have the prototype, as you said, drawing, you can make it, whatever. And in terms of trying to see if anybody like it holds water, if any company would like it, do you do that first before licensing?
Now, what you do, those are right. I tell everybody, if you have an idea, first thing to do is go online
Mhm.
and see if you can find it. Okay.
Somebody did it first.
Yeah. It's called study the marketplace. Step number one, look around, look. You cannot look enough. And then if you don't see it, go, okay, next step. Okay, I think I have something. I think I have something people might want. Okay, maybe you build a prototype if you can. If you cannot build a prototype, don't worry about it. Create it, have someone draw it up for you or create it with 3D printing, but somehow get that idea out so people can actually see it too. Okay. And then put together a one-page advertisement. I tell everybody that one-page advertisement is like a billboard. When you're driving down the freeway and you look up, you get it. That's all it really is one page. The benefit. Label provides 75% more space because there's never enough space on labels. That's what my rotating label does. And here's a picture of someone using it. And then there's like a couple of features. It's easy to do, easy to twist, easy to manufacture. Those are features. And here's my contact information. There it is. That's it. And then reach out to companies that always ask for, do you work with inventors? Find them
Mhm.
on LinkedIn, find that perfect company, go down to the store and go, my product should be selling there. Take a picture of all those other products. Those are the companies you're going to reach out to.
Mhm.
And then you go on LinkedIn, find those companies, and then find people in the marketing department or sales department and make a connection. Once they connect with you, say, hey, do you work with us inventors? Do you embrace open innovation? Oh, you do. Who's the right person? That's how it all starts. And then you
Okay.
send them your marketing piece. If they like it, then the whole process starts. Yeah, it's actually really quite simple. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's like you will be kind of led along the way once you start talking to people. They'll be like, oh, talk to this person. And then and obviously if you are lost, you can reach out to you. You could Google it, you could join a course,
Yes.
look it up on YouTube, one of your thousands of videos.
Well, hopefully those videos help, but um, getting in the game is really easy. Where people trip up a little bit, some companies might ask them some questions they don't know how to answer. So
Mhm.
things kind of fall apart, or you overthink it, or you don't understand some of the language that's happening. So that's where we see it falling apart a little bit, right? And but really, it's simple. I mean, if a 13-year-old boy can do it, okay, come on, everybody, not that hard. Now you have to realize he did this in the novelty gift industry. In the novelty gift industry, there's the bookie mark. The novelty gift industry is a really fun industry. They don't need prototypes. They don't need intellectual property. Sketch it on a napkin. That industry
Oh,
loves ideas. That's how I started, right?
okay.
Yeah. And this company that's in the novelty gift is called Fred and Friends. And they sell everywhere. But they'll tell you, just put a sketch on a napkin. You got to be kidding me. Really? Okay. So, and that's what he did. Yeah.
And it's so fun. It's like really cute idea.
And I can't believe it's selling everywhere too. He's so he was 13 and his sister was 10. They were a tag team. They worked together.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, like, forget the lemonade stand. He's going
Well,
after it.
well, it started, I think, with lemonade. He tells that story. His dad was helping him and said, do that. And he realized that wasn't working very well. I could do something else.
He's like, I got bigger fish to fry here, Dad.
Got to find another way to make a little bit more money. So the
Wow.
story, yeah, I have his story on a video I did on my YouTube with Connor and his sister, yeah. But they tell this great story about how they really did it, and then when you hear it, you realize, and that's why I like these podcasts so much, right? You have to expose people to different situations, like you're doing, and then you go, wow, that person did that. Let me dig a little deeper, right? So it all starts with that first sending a message out.
Mm-hmm.
And then who knows where that goes? I mean, so you're just pushing information out to all these people, right? All this good stuff's going out. You don't know who's going to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're part of that. You're part of that too. You're part of that change agent, right?
Yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah, you're a giver.
I I love that. I always tell people, no matter what it is, like 2 weeks ago, I ran my first ultra marathon. And I have people that tell me, like, there's no way I could do that. And I'm like, oh, if I could do it, you could do it. Like, honestly. And you hear that all the time. People are like, if I could do it, you could do it. I don't really believe anybody's that much smarter than anybody else. It's all about how you apply yourself and how you chase after your interests.
Well, that's a big deal. Okay, not every. Well, okay, you determined,
Yeah.
right? You were disciplined, right? You didn't give up.
Yeah. Gave up a
Okay,
lot of happy hours
good for you.
to
And
run.
you're a rock climber too, I see. So, um, it's interesting. I do think they can do much more if they want to. Yeah,
They really can.
and sometimes they need someone to show them the way.
I was going to ask for your like last pitch for people to encourage them to go after it, but that might have been it. But if you have anything else,
No, I'll say, I'll repeat what my father told me. If you find something you truly love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. So don't settle for less.
Never settle. You didn't.
No, he was right. And what I really liked about it is that people only retire from things they don't like. So I'll be doing this forever.
I mean, I'm sure you have lots of ideas to bring to licensing and market. Yeah,
I have a lot of mountains to climb. It's not
you
over.
do.
Yeah.
You do. Where can people find you, Stephen?
I think the easiest way is just to find me on my YouTube channel,
Mhm.
right? And it's InventRight TV. You want to invent right, not wrong. So go to InventRight TV and dig in. It's like potato chips. You watch one, you want to watch another one. It's hard to stop watching them. We make them fun, and just take a deep breath and enjoy it. Don't get in a hurry.
Yeah,
Find-
and don't get in your own way.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
Thank you so much for your time, Stephen. This was so wonderful. And I hope everybody just goes out there and puts everything to market, or at least tries.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.